Hey guys, it's Cayley. Welcome to my humble abode. Don't mind the mess. We got all kinds of stuff over here. It has been a really long time since we've done really any kind of shipping video, but specifically about eBay. A lot has changed since the last time I talked about eBay shipping. They've come out with new services. They've done away with some services. And I thought today it would be fun to just give you a brief update on those. It has been a while since that's happened, but we haven't really talked about it on this channel. So let's talk about those updates. I know for a lot of you, eBay shipping is very daunting. So today we're going to discuss kind of a brief introduction of eBay shipping, how I personally do it, as well as we are going to live ship 5 items, and I am going to actually screen record the entire thing here so you can see exactly what I am pressing and what my options are. Before I get started pulling items, I wanted to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, which is Betckey. And if you're thinking, why does that sound familiar? It should sound familiar to you because I have actually been using Betckey labels for our inventory labels for a while. You guys remember how excited I was when I realized you could print inventory labels on the printer? Like, oh my gosh, that saves me so much time. If you are interested on how I did that, I will link a video down below in the description. You can watch about our inventory system and how we use labels to print our consecutive numbers. Like, you can print hundreds at a time. Actually, I think we print 1,000 at a time. It's insane. And so I couldn't think of a more perfect sponsor for the video besides one that we were already using that I love and I trust. So we have got quite a few different sizes here. I was actually surprised to learn that they have like a lot of different options as far as shipping labels go. Betckey is a leading supplier for compatible direct thermal labels. They're committed to providing their global customers with the best quality products, competitive pricing, and outstanding customer service. Their store has been on Amazon for over 10 years, ranking first in the United States, Canada, and Western Europe, with a 100% positive rating. At the same time, the website is betckey.com, which is ranked first in the world in labels. Check the links in the description box to head on over to Betckey and use code Cayley15 to save 15% off of your purchase. So like I said, I have used them for a good while now. These are probably going to be the ones that I use the most. We use them every single day. They are 4x6 labels, tried and true. This is the most common size for most people's shipping labels. And one thing that I really love about them is they have the actual size on the back of the label. So you're never going to be guessing. The paper that the adhesive sticks on, it's got it right there. Which they also have the perforated lines, which makes it easy for tearing. They also have patented glue technology, which helps to adapt when there are temperature changes. So I don't know if you guys have ever adhered a sticky label to the package, but then when you walk outside, it like starts peeling off. Their technology is not supposed to do that. And one thing that I found really, really interesting is they have a glue-free design for the very last label in each roll, which basically reduces waste. Like, they've really thought everything through. This one is my second most used one. This is the one I have promoted to you guys over and over. It's actually kind of difficult to find this exact size. I remember when I was looking for a specific size in label for my inventory labels, I was having a hard time finding these. And Betckey was one of the only people that had this solution. So these are I think I call them the 2x1, but they're technically the 2 1/4 by 1 1/4. And these are what we use for our inventory labels. I'll show you here in a second when I go to pull the items to ship. And they did send me some other sizes, which I have never used before. These are it's about like 3x4. These would be perfect if you did want to print like your own sticker or thank you or custom message and slap it onto a package. Oh, these ones are cute too. Another size. Again, I could totally see somebody using these for more of like a thank you sticker situation or to label something in your office. Thank you to Betckey for sending me these labels. They will definitely go to good use because, like I said, we use them every single day. So I'm gonna pop these 4x6 labels into the printer to get ready to ship. This printer needs a little cleaning. All right, and we are ready to go. Now let's go pull these items and get ready to ship. All right, guys, so the very first item we're gonna go grab is a fall item. I don't know about you guys, but my customers have been buying warm weather items, so I'm excited to see some of this stuff go out. This one is in my scarf section, which is right over here. Follow me. So this is a Barefoot Dreams Cozy Chic Light Ultra Light Poncho. We paid 10 bucks for it and it sold for $54. All right, next up, this is more of a bread and butter find. This is a Lucky Brand plus size top, which sell-through rate has gone really down with these. I have to be very specific, but these really cool graphic print boho t-shirts usually do well in plus sizes for me. I paid $5 for this. It sold on an offer to watcher for around $21. This is in SKU 22615. So I know that it's gonna be in this next row over here. 22615, got it. And you guys can see what these SKUs look like. Freaking love these labels. They are the best. All right, so we got this one. Let's grab another. All right, this next one was actually a pretty quick flip, which I'm glad because I paid up for this bad boy. I actually got this at a consignment shop like clearance sale. This is a pair of Anthropologie women's wide leg pull-on pants. I paid $25 for these, but we listed them for around $75 and they sold on a promotion for around $64. So $25 into $64, also a repeat buyer. This one is also in the 22,000 range. So a lot of these are our newer items, which makes me confident that what we are picking up is what we should be picking up. All right, let's do a couple of bigger items for the purpose of, just showing you shipping. So one of these is an Outback Trading Company men's trench coat. I actually paid 40 bucks for this, which I know is super high, but I got it towards the end of winter last year, and I think I listed it for around 125 and it had a really great sell-through rate, but I think because I listed it towards the end of the season, it sat a little bit longer. I've since dropped the price. I'm also currently running a sale on my jackets and coats to clear out older inventory to make room for new inventory. So this ended up selling for $70. 40 into 70, not great. I didn't lose money. Honestly, I probably should have combed through it a little bit better and relisted it at a higher price now that we're back in season, but I'm just not in the habit of doing that yet. This is a ginormous jacket, so we'll see how we're gonna ship this thing. It is huge, it is very heavy. Okay, and last one we sold this Escada, which is a designer brand. Doesn't always flip quickly, but I think if you price it right and you have a good piece, it can sell well. It is a wool and silk double-breasted blazer. We paid $6.50 and we listed it for $75. It did sell for our full asking price, and I'm actually super shocked at how quickly it sold because if you guys know, Escada usually is not a quick flip. We must have priced it just right and used the right keywords. All right, I have my big old stack here on my little cart. I'm gonna hop on over to the screen and we are going to see what the options are here. So I've got all of my items here. And I'm also going to do a screen record for you so you're gonna be able to see everything and what I am pressing. So I'll first start by saying that you can ship however you want. You can go through whatever carrier you want. I personally choose to go through USPS, even though there might be cheaper options in some cases, like heavier stuff or bigger stuff. I almost always go with USPS, like 99.9999999% of the time. And it's because it is simple, it is easy. It's the one I know most about, and most oftentimes, at least for clothing resellers, it is the most affordable and fastest option for your customer. I only ship with 2 different services with USPS, and chances are if you're getting on eBay, you're only going to use these 2 as well. And those 2 options are Ground Advantage and Priority Mail. Ground Advantage is the cheaper one, but it is like 1 or 2 days potentially slower. And then Priority Mail is typically the more expensive one. It's considered elevated only because it ships faster. I'm not going to go into a whole deep dive about shipping. If you're interested in that, we do have that video on the Resellers Edge group. But for today, let's ease into it and keep it simple. So I'm picking out of those 2 options. Within priority mail, there are also a couple different options that I can use. One of them is just their regular priority mail, which is by weight and distance. And then there are some flat rate options. If your buyer chooses priority mail, you can put it in any of those priority mail options. It's still considered priority mail. It's important to never downgrade your customer to a slower shipping service. So if somebody chooses Ground Advantage, which is the slower one, but it's actually cheaper to ship it priority, you can upgrade them to priority if it's cheaper for you, and they get the faster service. You can do that because it's considered an upgraded, elevated service. But you can't do it the opposite way. So if your buyer pays for priority mail, they're expecting the fastest shipping, you can't downgrade them to Ground Advantage just because it is cheaper for you. Which is why it's so important when you are in your drafts that you are choosing the right options. Because sometimes Ground Advantage and priority mail are about the same price, or sometimes priority mail is cheaper than Ground Advantage. I like to offer both options for my customer using business policies. I also made a video on business policies. That's a whole nother thing if you want to check that out and get those set up for yourself. But just know that I offer both options to my buyer. So whatever they chose during their checkout process, that is what is going to pop up on our screen. Let's get some electrolytes in before we ship these things, especially that giant code. I think I'm gonna have to wrestle that thing. All right, so the first way to get to your shipping is you're going to go to your eBay Seller Hub by clicking Sell, and then you're going to go to Orders. These are all of my orders awaiting shipment currently as of today. As I mentioned before, we are late in the day and I only chose 5. So one of the ones that I need to ship is this Escada blazer right here. We're going to go ahead and get shipping label for that. I'll show you how to print one singularly, and then we'll come back and we'll do the rest of them in bulk so you can see both processes. All right, so we are scrolling down here. So all of this information, this right here is coming from my draft. So this is what we typed in to the draft. And as we scroll down, you can see that my buyer selected USPS Ground Advantage, which means I can either ship it this Ground Advantage if that's my cheapest, or I can ship it priority mail if it is cheaper because I would be upgrading them. This might be slightly different depending on where you're located at in the United States, but for me, I have learned that if Ground Advantage is more than about $7, then I need to check the priority mail option. Usually that seems like that's the threshold for me in my region where it might become cheaper to go to priority mail. So as long as I see that it is less than $7, I go ahead and continue with the Ground Advantage. I have got my Escada blazer right here, and I kind of did away with thank you stickers for the most part, but because this is a little bit of a higher dollar sale, you know, it's 75 bucks, we're gonna go ahead and close it up with a thank you sticker. And I basically just put a sticker over top of this little label here. This one's actually in a larger bag that we reuse. Our typical bags look like this. This is one that we reused from a return that somebody sent us. Okay, so this is going Ground Advantage. Whenever something goes Ground Advantage, it has to go in your own packaging. If it goes priority mail, you can send it in some of the free USPS priority mail supplies. But this is Ground Advantage, so we cannot put it in this. You can only put it in a priority mail package if you're actually shipping it priority mail. We're shipping at Ground Advantage, so it is going to be our own packaging. And so I have some larger poly mailers, and this one's a little bit larger, so I am going to put it into this and just fold it over. Now, in theory, whatever you put in your draft and estimated for should be accurate for your item, but we all know that we're human. I have employees that work for me, and I know that they're human too. So our process is to always double check what the actual weight is. And then of course, if dimensions are far off what we had, we are changing the dimensions as well. The dimensions that I put in my drafts are the dimensions of the bags that we typically use, which are 10 by 9 and a height of 4. So this one weighs 1 pound, 10.3 ounces. You do have to round up. So it's actually 1 pound, 11 ounces. And you can see here that we actually estimated 1 pound, 10 ounces, which is not correct. So we are going to update that. And we are going to purchase shipping label. And I do have my labels set up for the 4x6 labels. If you've never printed on eBay with 4x6 labels, you will need to change that in your settings. And you can do that in the screen I just showed you right before I hit purchase label. I'm going to print. Super duper easy. I've got my labels that we just put in the printer, and I personally like to take the label and put it over where the bag kind of folds. It just is extra tape essentially for me. You just want to make sure that your postal man can scan. Actually, I just remembered we were going to do everything in bulk. So let me actually grab the Anthropologie pants, this ginormous coat, the Barefoot Dreams, and the Lucky brand. Okay, so we're back on our orders page. I am going to select all of the ones that I am going to be shipping in bulk. Usually we just check all of them, but once you've selected how many orders you want, all the ones you want to ship, you can see I've got these. Then you go here and you go to Get Shipping Label, and that's how you go into your bulk shipping. Now that I'm on my bulk shipping, you can see that the screen looks slightly different, but not too much. And it's basically all of the same information, just condensed into an easier to read format. So we'll just start with this first one, this Outback Trading Company men's trench coat. My buyer paid for Ground Advantage here. Remember what I said about the $7? Once it is higher than that, you might want to check on priority mail. So my buyer paid for Ground Advantage. And it's going to cost me $6.76 in order to ship. You might be noticing that, hey, the buyer paid $13.65. I'm only paying $6.76. That's because you get a commercial discount by printing through eBay. So if you can, you definitely want to print through eBay versus going to the post office, because you're paying retail rates there. And that's extra money in your pocket. All right, so $6.76. Remember the $7 rule. It is less, so we know that it's probably not going to be more expensive than priority mail, but we can double check. All we do is click here, and you can get an idea of how much other things would cost as well. So Ground Advantage is my cheapest, so that is what we are going to go with. All right, this thing is a little bit of a beast. I am going to try to fold it the best that I can. And whenever I fold stuff, I try to make sure that the buttons get protected by being folded inside of the garment, like so. And we're going to want to condense this down as much as we possibly can. Actually, not bad. And then I always prefer to protect everything in plastic when it gets shipped, because things can be sitting out in rain. Like, you really don't know what's going to happen to your item during transit. So I always protect it with a plastic bag. I know that less plastic is better, but my customers prefer me to do this. And so that's why we're doing it. Usually hug it, squeeze, twist it. And then because I need this to hold, we will also use a thank you sticker on this. Plus it is a little bit of a higher end sale. So again, this is going Ground Advantage, which means I have to put it in my own packaging. I could put this in a box if I wanted to, but I ship most things in a poly mailer, even though it is slightly heavy. I am still going to put it in a poly mailer and ship it that way. So we're grabbing another one of our bigger ones here. And what I'll do is I will go ahead and close it. And then I will also fold it over. You don't want your dimensions on anything to be too wide, because you might exceed the dimensional limit for items, which is going to cost you more money. It's actually kind of difficult to exceed the dimensional limit. You'll know when you exceed the dimensional limit because it'll be bigger than any of the free USPS supplies you can get. So you can see I kind of condensed this down into a package, and I know that I'm not exceeding that limit. Let's go ahead and weigh. 4 pounds, 15.2 ounces. Remember, we have to round up. So there's 16 ounces in a pound. So it's actually going to be exactly 5 pounds. And so we estimated a little high. I will go ahead and change that. And I'm actually going to change my dimensions just because they are a lot different than what we had in there. And you can see my price did go up slightly because of that, but we are still well within what the buyer paid. So I am just going to set this in order aside here. And let's move on to the next one. The next one is the Barefoot Dreams Cozy Chic. So this one I'm just going to chuck into a bag. We don't really need thank you stickers or anything like that. So this one the buyer paid for ground advantage. This one is under $7, so it's probably my cheapest, but just to show you, these would have been the prices. You can see it would be $6.90 if I were to upgrade it to priority mail, but I am saving as much money as I can. So we are not going to pick that, and we're going to go with the ground advantage that the buyer purchased. Remember, we do have to go in our own packaging for ground advantage. These are the poly mailers that I use the most because most of my inventory is like in my regular system, which is this size. These are the 10 by 13s. Again, this is where that dimension number comes from in my drafts. And all we do is slide in, close. We're gonna weigh 11.2 ounces. So that's actually 12 ounces. Somehow we are slightly off on everything. All right, scrolling down, we've got the Lucky brand. Buyer chose ground advantage. Man, I'm not going to get to show you guys any priority mail today. Both of these are going ground advantage, so I'm going to go ahead and prep those. It would not be cheaper for me to put them into priority mail, but if I was going to put them into priority mail, let's say that it was cheaper, all I would do is grab one of my by weight and distance priority mail items. This one is the Tyvek envelope. It's free to use. This one is by weight and distance. There's also other priority mail options like a flat rate. So let's click on this and pretend we're going to ship it like that. The padded flat rate envelope, whatever flat rate you choose has to go in that flat rate packaging. So let's pretend I was going to stick those in a padded flat rate envelope. Then I would have to take these and put them into the actual padded flat rate envelope. So this one's not by weight and distance. If it goes in this, it has to get this service. So I would just put it in there. But these are both going ground advantage. Maybe we'll do another ship with me video. Let me know down in the comments, and I will intentionally try to find ones that are going priority mail. But honestly, you guys, most of my items do go ground advantage these days. So this is my Lucky brand item. I also should have been showing you guys this, but typically after we weigh each item, because we are sealing the packaging, we do write wherever we're gonna put the label. So let's say that this is that Outback jacket. So I would just write Outback on there, and then we'll use the shipping label to cover that up. But otherwise, you're closing up packages. Like these ones look almost the same, so we don't know what they are. So I just closed this package. This would be Lucky brand. So I just wrote Lucky. Weigh it. That one's going to be 5 ounces. And as I'm doing this, not only do we write on it, so this is exactly how I would do this. I'm currently handling this one. These are my Anthropologie wide leg pants. I'd write Anthro. Then it would get weighed, 12 ounces. And then it always goes in order too. So I go in order of the page. It also makes it easier to keep track of things once the shipping label prints, which I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so I've got all of my data in. Once that is all clicked in, we're gonna hit review purchase. And here's where you can change that paper size before you confirm and pay. You do have to do it before. I know it's kind of in a weird place. We are doing PayPal, confirm and pay. Then we are going to print all the labels together. You You can see I've got my string of labels here. These are going to be in order. So this is my Outback Trading Company, this is my Barefoot Dreams, and so on, but we do verify it here on the screen. So in order to verify it, you're still gonna be on this like confirmation screen. If you scroll down, it's gonna give you your buyer's username as well as the item. And basically all I do is I match up the buyer's address and name on the label to the item it is. So this buyer is getting Outback Trading Company. I'm gonna go ahead and adhere that now. And while I'm doing this, remember I am covering up that writing. This buyer gets the Barefoot Dreams. I'm covering up the writing, which I intentionally put on the seam, and I'm covering up the seam for additional like reinforcement of where the bag opens. This buyer gets Lucky Brand, and this buyer gets Anthropology. Great, so all of those 5 items have been shipped. The first one by itself and the rest of these in bulk. It is important to note that although most of the time the labels do print in order, occasionally I do have like a military address or an international sale that does throw them slightly out of sorts, which is why it's really important to verify the address with the item on your screen and then adhere it to the right package. All right, you guys, so that is it for today's Ship With Me. Hope that I was able to ease into eBay shipping a little bit with you guys. It has been a while since I've done a Ship With Me. If you guys like these videos, I would like to bring them back, and maybe next time I will pull some for priority mail and show you some different options there. Let me know down in the comments if you would like that. And don't forget, if you're interested in checking out Betckey, the link as well as that coupon code is down below for you to save. I do love and trust them. You guys know I have been promoting those inventory labels for a while. They are definitely a game changer. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.